Welcome back to episode 62 of the ATD Baseball Podcast. This is Kyle's favorite number, if you can't tell if you're watching us on YouTube. Kyle, you want to remind us again why 62 is so special in your heart?
Yes, of course. I will do so with the utmost pleasure. In the 2022 season, Aaron Judge broke the single season home run record with 62 home runs, passing other Yankee great Roger Maris.
There you go. In the American League. In.
Yes.
Uh, Again, these big free agents have not signed yet. We are still waiting. And I got a little wager that I want to put out there. It's not. There's no. I take all the risk here. If one of these big free agents signs from when the time that we are recording this podcast, I will give Matt and Kyle each $100.
Oh,
Wow.
oh,
Okay.
okay. I like
So
this.
what? We got
I
like
want.
50 minor league deals we want to cover too, right, Kyle?
I mentioned. I said the big names. I didn't. I said big names. No trades. They have to be signed.
No. We want to
So
stretch this podcast out as long as it takes forever.
yeah,
Up our
I'm gonna
chances
do
of getting this
24-hour
$100.
special.
Yeah, exactly.
We do have a lot of topics to cover today. At least
Yes.
it's
So if you see me looking over like this, it's just checking if Jeff Passan tweeted breaking news. Blake Snell signed with whoever. So
I am here. I am doing my due diligence as a baseball fan. I want to help free agency move along. I'm tired of this. I want these guys to sign. So I take all the risk.
love it.
Uh,
yeah.
we got topics that we got to discuss today. We got Polanco. We got Joc Pederson. We got Justin Turner. We got Rhys Hoskins. I know Matt went his heart out about that and wish him a bon voyage. We got weird Nat City Connect jerseys going away. And then the MLB The Show 24 cover athlete was announced this morning. I like it, but it seems like the other two guys not all that hyped about it. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Where do you
We'll
guys want
see.
to start?
I mean, I think we'll start with like the most recent deal. Jorge Polanco traded from the Twins to the Mariners for a considerable amount. Honestly, I mean that was the most shocking part is the trade details. Which if one of you guys want to pull those up here in a minute while I'm trying to ramble on, I know it was Anthony DeSclafani and some other names as well as some minor league prospects too. The Twins had an abundance of infielders, and a lot of those were younger guys who were making it up to the major league level, and it made sense. It made sense for the Mariners to get a guy and Jorge Polanco there to fill some of the holes that are missing, honestly, in Seattle. And they have a wealth of starting pitching, so there was a place that they could deal out of, but felt like a bit of an overpay by the Mariners to me. Now, somebody's got the trade details, I hope.
Yes, and you can also find this on aroundthediamondmedia.com.
Hey,
So the Mariners acquired Jorge Polanco from the Twins in exchange for Anthony DeSclafani, right-handed pitcher Justin Topa, and two minor leaguers. The fifth-ranked overall prospect in the Mariners system, outfielder Gabriel Gonzalez, as well as right-handed pitcher Darren Bowen. And cash considerations also went back to Minnesota.
Okay. So, shortstop and second baseman, like I was saying, infielder there for Jorge Polanco, who's got a little bit of versatility there. Kyle, your initial thoughts on the trade?
Yeah, for me, I love this for the Mariners. I do. I think Jorge Polanco is a very solid bat. I was kind of shocked with the return, to be honest with you, especially once they came out um, at like when the full details came out and Gabriel Gonzalez was going back to Minnesota. I think that's a kind of a huge pull for what you're giving up. Um, but Jorge Polanco, I mean, he's been a mainstay in Minnesota for the last 10 seasons. slashing a total of 269, 334, 446 with 112 home runs in his 10 years. Also adding in that All-Star appearance in 2019 with that loaded Twins team. That was a fun team to watch. But no, I like this for the Mariners. They've been looking for a mainstay at second base. I know my guy Gleyber Torres was shopped around completely. Like that's the one name I've always heard with the Mariners. So I really like this move. Polanco adds a lot of veteran presence to a very young lineup. Um, he's a consistent Batman. I mean, he's that kind of guy that you want at. I mean, the way the lineup looks, I'm gonna have to guess that you're probably gonna use him maybe in the 6, 7, 8, somewhere around there. But this guy could very easily be a top of the line leadoff hitter. I mean, he's reasonably always hit for high contact, and he gives you a bit of pop. No, I really like this move for the Mariners. I really do. And on the Twins side of things, I mean, getting Gabriel Gonzalez, I think that's a huge win in itself. But also getting these other guys, Justin Topa, very underrated, by the way. He spent one season in Minnesota. I forget who he was with beforehand, but he pitched to a 2.61 ERA last season over 69 innings. I mean, adding a guy like that to this Minnesota rotation, I mean, there's another win for you. You're getting depth in this trade. And for Minnesota, I think that's a huge win.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. Uh, if you want somebody, you got to give up some of your pieces, and that's dipped into the farm system and stuff. So, uh, when you initially look at it, it's it's eye pumping. Like, whoa, they gave up all these different prospects and pitchers and stuff. But then when you really you talk it out and think about it, it's a good trade for both sides. So, yeah, like you said, get that versatile second baseman, shortstop in there for Seattle. And then listen, with the Twins, you knew that they were gonna probably be doing stuff like this because they did say that they were gonna be shedding pay and stuff. So nothing wrong with that, and I think this is a good trade for both sides. I don't see a problem with it.
So Mariners' current roster projection. This is just a lineup projection from Fangraphs. Um, Shortstop J.P. Crawford. This is going through projected lineup too. I mean, listen, they have no idea. This is projection though. Batting first, J.P. Crawford shortstop, J. Rod center field, Jorge Polanco second base, Mitch Garver, of course, who they just signed, DH, Cal Raleigh catching, Ty France still at first base, Luke Raley, who they traded for in left, Mitch Haniger, who they acquired in right, and then Josh Rojas, who they traded for Eugenio Suarez from the Diamondbacks there at third base. So, or no, that was the Paul Sewald trade. Sorry, that was the Paul Sewald trade. Different trade with the Mariners, or the Diamondbacks. But yeah, so that there's things to like about the Mariners in that lineup, but feels a little bit less star-studded than last year. That's my opinion. I mean, you lose some of these guys like Teoscar Hernandez, obviously trading away Eugenio Suarez. You're taking the strikeouts away, but you're taking some of the pop away, feels like, too, from that lineup. Just not as threatening. When you read the names down that lineup, there's some to like, but like Mitch Garver had a great year last year, but can you count on him to be a huge, consistent piece for your offense? I don't know. So, on the Twins side of those things, though, hey, good for them. I think you kind of robbed the Mariners, honestly, but Desclafani has been a decent pitcher in the past, and the prospects that you got back were pretty highly thought of. So, I like the move for the Twins. The Mariners, maybe not so much, but hey, you like Melo said, you wanted this guy, you went out and got him, so you had to give up what they wanted.
Yeah,
But
and I mean, I also want to add in here, Matt. I completely agree with you. Like, this is why I've been kind of stating all off season long, like this Mariners team is weird. Like they made some very questionable moves, not bringing back Hernandez, trading away Suarez like that. Like you're missing two mainstays in that lineup, and who are you going to replace him with? That's what we kept like preaching all off season long. We were wondering like what's going to happen. What like you're getting worse, which is not what you want to do in a competitive AL West. Um, and I think that's why they gave up so much for Polanco, because Polanco is at least over here on the AL side of things, I've always thought highly of Polanco. I think he goes out, he plays with heart, he plays with grit, and he's a guy that you want in that lineup. So I think they had to give up that much to get that guy that they really wanted, just like Melo said. Um, yeah, it's definitely been a weird offseason for this Mariners team.
Yeah, but they can always lean back on that strong pitching rotation that they have there. So they're going to be relying on that, I think, a lot this year. Between the pitching rotation and Julio Rodriguez, it's going to be a lot of them. But I think the next move we want to cover, or at least I want to get out of the way, I want to talk about Rhys Hoskins a little bit. Kind of sucks to see him move on from the Phillies, but it was sort of inevitable. Bryce Harper fit at first base. He made it work. And this Phillies team that's been signing people left and right in the last few off seasons, there just wasn't the money to give Hoskins what he was looking for to play first base anymore. And I think he's a great fit for the Brewers. And Melo, you predicted him going to the Brewers, so I think you thought it was a great fit too.
Oh, absolutely, I did. I thought it was a great fit.
I mean,
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah. Go ahead.
No. I thought you were gonna keep going, but no, it sucks if you're a Phillies fan because Rhys Hoskins was a very likable guy. I mean, we've seen the bat slam 1,000 times already, but he really fit Philly. But he just, to me, he just kind of screamed a Brewer, and I think he's gonna go play first base extremely well. He's gonna be a fan favorite without question in Milwaukee, and I hope he's healthy. And if he is, I think he's gonna mash. He's gonna give you 25 home runs and play decent, good enough defense. And that's something that the Brewers kind of needed. Needed to upgrade a little bit at first base, and I think they did. Hopefully he's healthy, but I saw it a mile away. I knew.
Kyle, I know you got your brother, of course, Mikey.
Yeah,
He
so
writes for
I
us
mean,
sometimes, but he's
although I'm
plugged
not
into
a
Philly,
Phillies
so I'm
fan
sure you
here,
got some thoughts on this too, though.
I mean, Rhys Hoskins he's holds a soft spot in my heart. I watched him through the minors, man. I mean, for all you who are not very known of this, I've watched him in person 40 miles down the road here. This guy has been a mainstay in the Phillies lineup. He was loved. The bat slam, probably peak. Absolutely love that. That fired me up. Um, but looking at this projected lineup for the Brewers, I mean, you got Yelich, Contreras, Frelick, Hoskins, Adames, Mitchell, Kerrang, Monasterio, and you also have Jackson Cherry, who is in your top prospect. This is a lineup that is very, it's like off balance almost. Like I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna get out of it. But adding Hoskins sure as hell helped. I'll tell you that. This guy will get. I mean, he doesn't hit for a high average, but also you don't really need him to because he's guaranteeing you at least what 20 home runs a season. I
Yep.
mean, this guy when healthy is a huge power bat. Sliding him into your in your four hole wherever it is that you're gonna end up having him, he's gonna drive guys in. And with this Milwaukee team who has guys hitting in front of him that can get on base, that's exactly what Hoskins needs. And I think this is a match made in heaven for both sides. No, I love this move for Milwaukee. I think Hoskins was, I don't want to say let go out of Philly too early, just because you do have Bryce Harper. And there's not really, there's no comparing the two. Bryce Harper showed that he can play some above average defense over there at first. And I think that's all you need out of Bryce Harper. You don't need him to be the elite, defender anymore. He's playing first. Just get that bat back in the lineup, and that's all that matters. And it also gives Philly a little bit of versatility in the outfield now. But no, with Hoskins, I think he's coming off of an injury, so I think he's going to start off slow. But once he really settles in to Milwaukee, I think he's going to thrive, and I think it's going to be a great deal for both sides.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss Reeser in Philly. He was consistently hitting, between, it depended what year it was and where he was in his career, but between like third and sixth through his whole career. He's a guy, like Kyle said, he's gonna drive in your guys who are on base, and he's gonna be a big personality in your locker room, on your team, and a big influence, and just not a role model, but like a guy that you're okay with the younger players that Kyle mentioned off of their projected lineup. You're going to be okay with them not modeling their game, but like being around him. Between him, Christian Yelich, there's some great influences there for the young guys coming up through the Brewers organization to be looking at and say, hey, these guys have been big league professionals their whole career and have had very consistent and very, well, maybe not consistent for Yelich, but very good, great MLB careers. And this is a guy that I'm okay with asking for a couple of pointers, whatever it is. But no, Rhys, gonna miss Rhys Hoskins a little bit. It sort of hurts because he was one of the guys where it was like the turning of the corner for the Phillies. Of course, a lot of it was bringing in free agents, but like he was coming up with Aaron Nola. That's of course their contract would have ended around the same time here if Nola would have not signed with Philly. But he was one of those guys where it's like, hey, Philly's starting to turn the corner here. We got a guy in Rhys Hoskins, so we don't have to worry about first base. We're not gonna sign another 35-year-old veteran or sign somebody off the streets to play first base. We've got our guy there, but time was up and he found a good home in Milwaukee. I think he's gonna perform well there. But what else we got next, Melo?
I want to do Joc Pederson. You suck. You know that, Joc? You stink. Why are you going to another NOS rival? You suck. You go from the Giants to the Diamondbacks. What are you doing? Get the hell out of the division. Yeah, go find grass. Go find grass somewhere else. It has to stay in the division. But I hate to admit it, but I really like what the Diamondbacks have been doing this offseason. I hate to admit it. I think they understood that they were not going to get Cody Bellinger, and they pivot and they got Joc Pederson. Which, listen, I know Joc's not on the same level with Cody Bellinger, but he's Joc Pop for a reason. I saw it firsthand in LA for years, and this guy is a postseason player. And if the Diamondbacks are going to take a next step, and if he's going to be playing games for you in the postseason, oh my God, Joc Pederson's going to give you some Joc Pops. But I like it. I like it for the Diamondbacks, and I like what they got going on down there. Unfortunately, but take care of him, Arizona. At least he's out of a Giant uniform. But then I couldn't hate that because it's like, well, Joc's from the Bay Area, so it's like, all right, it's kind of cool. Like he had to play for the Dodgers, which I'm sure he had family and friends that didn't like it. But then he went to the Bay Area, got to play for his team for a couple of years. Now he's again in Arizona, so you know what's gonna happen next year. He's gonna be in a Padres uniform next year. So, but happy for Joc. But then I put on my Dodgers hat and say, what are you doing? Stay out of my division.
Yeah, he's working on completing that NL West tour. He's got just 2 more teams to check off the list there, but
Don't check off the Rockies. You don't need to do that.
it might be a late career addition when it's coming to an end, possibly. I hope not for Joc. Hopefully he has a great, solid end of career and he can go out on the right foot on his own accord. But I have to agree with Melo. This is a great move by the D-backs, and all their moves this offseason have been very nice, in my opinion. Just building off of how far you made it, making it to the World Series last year with such a young roster. I think you got to feel great about where you're at and the additions you made this offseason between bringing in Suarez, like we mentioned, Eduardo Rodriguez, you signed, now signing Joc Pederson. a lot of great moves by the Diamondbacks. And even though they didn't go out and get a big fish, they didn't go out and spend 300 million on a player. They still were able to improve around the edges and enough to make them say, "Hey, there's a chance they could win the N." I don't know if I'll go that far. Maybe
There
they
you
won't win
go.
the NL West. Yeah.
Stopped yourself there. There you go.
They should be a
Stop
playoff
yourself.
team next year. I
You can
did.
say wild card team. There's nothing wrong with saying wild card team. There's nothing wrong with that.
All right, Kyle.
Yeah, there's not much else I can say about this. I'm totally in agreement with both of you. I love what Arizona's been doing this offseason. Um, they are literally just building off of what they did last year. They're adding veteran guys around their younger players, which I think means a huge deal. Not only to the Diamondbacks and their play, but to their young players, man. They got more veterans in in that clubhouse now that they can go to if they need any tips. Just anything. That's what makes a good clubhouse. And the additions that they have made is exactly what they needed to do. I love this team, man. I'm very high on them this season. I really am. And I think Joc Pederson, he adds even more left-handed power in that lineup. I think that's something that they needed too. You know, having more consistency in that lineup is only going to make them better. And I think these veteran guys are going to play to a level where the younger guys that we saw last season are going to play even higher. And I think everybody is just going to go up a step in Arizona. And yeah, that's exactly what needs to happen with this team, man. I mean, baseball's fun again in Arizona, and I'm here for it. Oh man, I can't wait to watch them. Seriously, I can't.
I gotta ask Melo, do Dodgers fans still look as Joc Pederson as like, hey, we raised him up, like that's our guy, or not really, since
It
he's traveled
is.
around so much.
We still have a soft spot for him. Kind of went away when he was in a Giant uniform. Every time he come up, he get booed. I'm like, well, why? It's like I know he's a Giant, and you're like, that's kind of what you're supposed to do. But dude, he came to the farm system. He gave us some great postseason moments. You stand and applaud that man. But I think at the end of the day, Dodger fans have a soft spot for him. We'll see again this year because look, now he's signing with a team that beat us in the postseason last year. So I don't know, but I think all Dodger fans have a soft spot for him.
Okay, they got to move to another guy that Dodgers fans have a soft spot for, Justin Turner.
Mr.
Um,
JT.
yeah, he signed up north to play with the Blue Jays, and I mean he's working on the AL East tour now.
Hey, he's
He's
on a
got
tour on
he's
his
got the
own.
Orioles, he's got the Red Sox, he's got the Blue Jays now. He's only got the Yankees, which I don't know about that. Justin Turner without a beard. Yikes.
He can stay away. We're
Yeah.
good. We're good.
um, Kyle, I mean, this affects you the most in your division. What do you got?
Um, Justin Turner turned himself into quite the Yankee killer last year with Boston. So I'm not happy that he's still in division. But no, it's a good move for the Blue Jays, man. I think. Well, I mean, just hypothetically, from the way this looks, this takes them out of the running for Matt Chapman. So we're kind of looking at Matt Chapman's replacement now. And Turner is that. I mean, he's a guy who can fill those shoes. He's a veteran guy who still gives you a bit of pop, who can still give you a decent average. It's kind of what you want out of a replacement third baseman, and he's still good over there at the hot corner defensively. So I like the move. Personally, not really as much because of, turning into that Yankee killer that I mentioned. There's guys that do that, man. When they come to the AL East, they turn it on and they hit that much better against the Yankees. And it makes me hate them. Justin Turner's one of them. But for the Blue Jays and as a baseball fan, I like to see that he's getting another opportunity. I've always respected Justin Turner. I've always liked the way he played the game. Um, so for the Blue Jays, I'm happy. It makes sense.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. It makes sense. And even as old as Justin Turner has said, and this is part of the reason why he's not a Dodger anymore. Dodgers wanted to move on, but before we got Shohei Ohtani and before JD Martinez last season, Dodgers wanted to bring him back, but they wanted him to be the DH, and they wanted to give me these guys like Miguel Vargas a shot and move Muncy over to third. Turner didn't want that. He believed that he was still a good defensive third baseman, even at his age. Dodgers didn't want to do it. They have talent that they can go. He said, "All right, I'm gonna go to Boston, where I can play third base every day." And he lived up to par and he proved himself. Did he get a big contract? No, but at this age, he's not gonna get a big 2-3 year commitment like that. But I like it for the Blue Jays. And you hit Kyle, you hit it right on the head. I thought the same thing. This takes him out of the running for Matt Chapman. So let's see where he ends up. But JT still got it. He still got it at the hot corner.
You know what? I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's going to be playing third base, honestly, because the Blue Jays lost their DH. They had Brandon Belt last year. He's a free agent, and I I was looking at Fangraphs roster resource, their projection, of course. It's a projection. Who knows how it could pan out, but they have Kevin Biggio currently listed as a third base and Justin Turner as the DH, which I thought is interesting. Not to say that Justin Turner doesn't have more to give over there at third base, but he performed really well in the DH role last year with Boston. And listen, the Green Monster may have helped him out some with that, and Boston's just the way the field is made there may have helped him out a little bit with that. But I think he's still got some juice in the tank to help this Blue Jays team. And who knows how this Blue Jays roster could change yet. Apparently, they were in Ohtani. That means they got money that they're willing to spend. Could they be willing to spend that on Cody Bellinger?
They're still
Could
in on
be.
Jorge Soler too.
Yeah. So who knows what it looks like depending on who else they sign. If they sign Bellinger and then shift Vladdy to DH and then shift Matt Chapman, shift Justin Turner to third base, yeah, it makes sense. No one's gonna say that's the wrong move there. But we'll see how it pans out. I mean, Bellinger could play outfield for all we know. That's where he's been playing. It makes sense. He's got versatility to be an option anywhere, and who knows if the Blue Jays are even in on him? Because, like we said, no offers for Cody Bellinger, apparently, supposedly. So we'll see how it pans out. But yeah, good move by the Blue Jays. I think they're going to try and squeeze out every little bit that Justin Turner is going to offer them here. So I like it. I think he's still got more good baseball in him, and Blue Jays are trying to capitalize on that. But what else we got? Who else we got to talk about?
Speaking of Blue Jays, I want to jump into this. MLB The Show cover got announced today. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., your cover athlete. I like it. Now, as I mentioned before we got on this podcast, I have a soft spot for the Guerreros. Vladimir Guerrero Sr., his dad, one of my favorite players of all time. I know he was in an Angel uniform. If I had to wear an Angels jersey, that would be the one player I would get and wear proudly. Vladimir Guerrero Sr. But I like it. I know a lot of people were not in favor of it. I know there was another guy in Ronald Acuna Jr. that they wanted, but I think there's a rule out there that he was just on another game. So you gotta wait like 3 years or something. Listen, I'm sure San Diego Studios reached out to Acuna. I'm sure they want. They're not stupid. They reach out to the top guys. It's just sometimes some guys aren't available, or just simply they just don't want to. They don't want to do it yet. But I like it. I want to hear why you guys don't like it.
Kyle, I'm going to defer to you first here.
Okay. So I'm not saying that this is a bad pick by any means. I think Vladdy has the potential to be a superstar in this league. I think that he has all the makings of proving himself and getting back to his 2021 form. However, my biggest problem with this is the fact that you had two guys who are off the top of my head, and I understand the licensing issues maybe could have come into play, but I'm not taking that into account because we just don't know that for sure. There's no confirmed reports. So what I'm going to look at, Ronald Acuna Jr., right? MVP, 40-70 season, first in Major League history, one of the most electric players in the game. Okay. Number two, Corey Seager, leads Texas to their first championship in franchise history, and then goes on to win World Series MVP. He now has 2 World Series MVPs, one in the NL, one in the AL. Those two guys, right off the top of my head, I feel fit the part a little bit better. And I'm even going to go a little bit further. Bobby Witt Jr. I would have liked to see him on the cover. He is in a small market, so that's going to bring some market. This is the whole thing that we've been arguing over this offseason. It's the fact that the Dodgers are up here, be able to spend everything else. You put Bobby Wood Jr. on that cover, that marketability of Kansas City is going to go a little bit higher, therefore bringing in more revenue. Adley Rutschman, he's another guy. Both of these two guys that I just mentioned are young studs, the next superstars of this league. I feel like just those 4 players that I just mentioned, they are a little bit more fitting for me. I'm not saying that Vladdy is the wrong choice, but he's coming off of one of the worst years of his career. Like, that's what didn't sit right with me. You got these other 4 options, in my opinion, that are just that much better. I think they swung and they missed. It's nothing against Vladdy, but then Vladdy needs to come out and prove to me that, listen, I deserve this. I should be on this cover because I'm going to have a damn good season. So then I'll come back on it a little bit. But for now, I think those 4 guys were just a bit more fitting than Vladdy was.
I understand that you can't always get the player that you desire, or you can't always get the best player or have the best player in the league be the cover because A, it would have been Ohtani, and B,
Aaron Judge can't be on that every single season.
okay, all right, yep.
He had 18.
Judge can't. Trout's never been on the cover, and that's because he's on the cover of some other off-brand MLB The Show game. Yes, MLB 9 innings. So he can't be on MLB The Show then. But I think MLB The Show, San Diego Studios, has gotten a little bit away from choosing the biggest stars, the best performing players. And I know it doesn't always work out. I'm going to take Corey Seager, for example. We've talked about this before. He's not the most personality-driven guy. I'm not saying you have to be to do MLB The Show, to be on the cover. But when you look back, like, all the commercials that you see and whatnot for MLB The Show, of course, that's helping Jazz Chisholm make more money because I'm sure the more sales or more downloads of the game, he gets more money based off of that. That'd just be smart business for him. But he's in the commercials chopping it up with Derek Jeter on the Legends line. You know, we've seen that commercial 100 times throughout the season, throughout the World Series. And just all these commercials. And Corey Seager might not be the guy to do that kind of stuff, honestly. So maybe they wanted him. Maybe he said no. Maybe they thought he's not a good fit personality-wise. I could understand why they would think so. But I think they're getting away from choosing some of the best players because Jazz Chisholm last year, he's not a top 30 player in the league even. So he's a great personality. He's got a lot of swag. I'm not going to deny that at all. He's got potential to be a great player in the league. But he's not quite there yet. I think Julio Rodriguez would have been a great pick this season. We've never seen Mookie Betts on a cover. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing that. Get another pitcher on there. Honestly, Garrett Cole, he's not a big personality guy. Blake Snell,
I thought Blake Snell was going to get it.
Yeah, he's a big MLB The Show guy. I think there's some other people that would make sense. Not to say that Vladdy Jr. doesn't make sense. We lost Kyle here. But he's still here. Okay.
There we go.
I just don't know that and maybe they did reach out to these other guys. I think there's a couple more people they could have chosen if that's how that works, or should have chosen.
I watched them announce Like they did, I saw like the little mini documentary that they did where they went to the DR and stuff, and you had David Ortiz there and everything. So I watched that for like maybe 25. The whole time I was trying to figure it out, and I'm being dead serious here. I actually thought Juan Soto was gonna get it because they were in the DR. I'm like, okay, Yankees, Juan Soto. I'm like, okay, I can see it. I actually thought that's who it was gonna be, and then some jackass on the YouTube feed spoiled it and said they just announced it was Vladdy Jr. on Twitter, and I went to Twitter. I'm like, yeah, there it is, first thing that popped up. So screw you, whoever did that. But I mean, listen, everybody's still gonna go buy the game. Everybody's still gonna play it. I hate this every single year because it happened with Jazz last year and it happened now with Vladdy this year. Everybody in the comments is like, "I'm not buying this game." Why are you getting mad at at a player who's on a video game? It's like cut the BS. You're still gonna spend the money and get it. You're gonna play it. You're gonna enjoy it. You got bigger issues if you're letting a player, a certain player being on the cover, let that be the reason why you don't get the game. That's a you problem. That's not a me problem. But can't wait. They're not gonna have it on PS4 and Xbox One anymore, which I know that sucks for a lot of people, but hopefully the graphics get a little touch up now. Now that we got the old gen out of the way. But we'll see.
Uh, come over to PC too. Come on, you're missing out.
Have you
I mean, if
seen
you're gonna
2K lately? We don't
ditch
need to
the
do
X,
that.
well, yeah. I mean, some of those are a little crazy in 2K, but you're ditching the old Xbox. I mean, I'm looking at my old Xbox One right now and thinking of how many times I got very mad and quit MLB The Show matches because I just gave up a home run and either lost the
This is
game or
bullshit.
exactly. So bring it over to PC too. I mean, listen, they're just as expensive as Xbox and PlayStation. Sometimes, literally, sometimes more, which is crazy. But I don't see why I can't bring them on over. Whatever the reason is, figure it out. I'll buy you a game if you do bring it over. But yeah, hopefully you can get a touch up in the graphics though, because there's still some things that you notice, uh, like in 23. It was like, come on, we could do a little bit better than that. So
Can we get some new legends in the game too? Like actual legends, not just some guy who played in the '90s that was pretty decent. Like, can we get Manny Ramirez back in the game here, please? I would love that. We've
a
gotten Derek
specific
Jeter
request.
back. We got David Ortiz back. We've gotten Pedro back. Can we get Manny Ramirez, please? That's all I want. Every year I go into hoping, is this the year that Manny Ramirez is finally going to get in this damn game?
A Manny Ramirez 500 home run card.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
It's got to be a
On my MLB The
99
Show
there.
team. Yes.
Yeah,
Diamond
yeah,
Dynasty.
yeah.
That's the only mode you should play in this game, in that game. You shouldn't play anything else.
I agree.
And maybe Road to the Show. But you should only be playing Diamond Dynasty. I'm sorry.
Franchise is too difficult to manage for MLB The Show. I can
Not if
pull it
you
off in Madden, but MLB The Show's a different story.
not if you put it on rookie and you win every year.
You got to worry about three different rosters. You got to worry about AAA and AA and single A and all these prospects. And we all know my opinion on prospects. I just be trading them all away, building a super
F them
team right now.
prospects.
Exactly. So, all right, we got a couple more signings we want to hammer out here, right?
Yeah, I don't know where you guys want to go with this, but
I mean, we got Hector Neris. We got Nat City Connects yet. I think we can end with that.
yeah.
Hector Neris. Start with Hector Neris here. One of
Oh, you
the
scared me for a second, Kyle. Oh my god.
oh, that's cool. We'll dive into that too. Little interesting interesting news broke before we hopped on here, but little more interesting news just dropped about the Orioles. So we'll get into that at the very end. But start with Hector Neris here. Basically the best reliever option on the open market, not trading for Hector Neris, and signs with the Cubs. So solid move for the Cubs, I guess, as long as you're okay with blowing a couple games here and there. No, I'm just kidding. just have too many bad
You meant
memories with
every
Hector
word of that.
Neris. Yes, I did mean every word of that. I was hoping the Phillies didn't re-sign him, but I don't got too much on this. Good for the Cubs. But it was interesting. He got a lot less money than I think he was asking for, which I think is interesting.
That might be the theme of this offseason. I had to take less just to play in Major League Baseball in 2024.
The economy is influencing, touching even the MLB players.
Inflation.
Yes. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
Kyle,
have
you got
much
anything?
either.
Yeah?
No, I don't have almost. I have like nothing. I
Go Cubs,
mean,
go.
yeah, good for the Cubs. I kind of wanted Neris a little bit. I know he was linked to my Yankees
Ooh.
a little bit, but I was totally okay with us not getting him, and I guess it makes sense for Chicago. Good for Neris, good for Chicago.
All right. Yeah,
Yankees
that
would be
was
interested in another old pitcher, Noah Syndergaard. Might be bringing him in.
Yes,
hey,
yes, damn right.
better either cut that hair or have it up in a hair in a bun.
The
Can't be
bun's
having
not
that
allowed.
long hair. Oh, bun's not allowed? What?
Nope. Got to be
Wow.
but when the hair is down, it's got to be shoulder length.
I think Marcus Stroman's is going to start a revolution here for what players are allowed to wear and look like on the field. No. We got Nats City Connect jerseys, which they're doing away with after this season, which is crazy. But then they also introduced some new jerseys as well. The
Ugh.
pullover and then the block lettering Washington away jerseys. You guys both hate them, but I don't hate them that much, honestly. I'm not, listen, I'm not super high on them, but I don't hate them.
Let me clarify. I like the V-neck, but I
Yes.
hate the way
Oh,
they use. The V-neck, I like it because it's changing a little bit, right? It's going away from the norm, and it's a cool alternative kind of jersey to wear on certain nights whenever they are going to wear it. But no, this road jersey is horrendous. Honestly, terrible. I hate it severely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Strong words. Hello.
I'm the other way. I don't like the V-neck. I'll wear that road jersey any day.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I didn't when they posted it last week. They on their MLB and Nationals Instagram account. There was a certain angle that they took it from. I was like, "Ooh, I like this jersey," and then they showed the front of it. I'm like, "Yeah, it's okay. It's not that great." But I don't know. Everybody was complaining about how Nike and MLB basically dropped the ball on these City Connect jerseys, and the Nationals was actually one of the more decent ones. Why would you
100%.
want to let that go and get that out of the rotation? Makes no sense to me. But hey, I don't run these teams. I'm not at Nike, so
Unless you are dropping these to incorporate something with the American flag, red, white, and blue more based, it was a bad move. Unless you're doing something very much flag America embracing all over. I mean, honestly, you could just take the Team USA jerseys and just be done with it for your City Connects. But I don't know. Didn't make much sense. I didn't even know you could do that. I thought this was like, hey,
yeah,
these are now part of your jerseys till like everybody drops them at once or everybody
just
just
stop
has them
wearing
for
them.
the rest of forever. Yeah. But they're like, nope, we're done with these actually after this year. So didn't know that was a thing. But
They're gonna put it right next to that World Series banner that they have in right field
yes. They're
and put
like,
that
okay,
jersey.
yep. That was fun. I guess we're done with this now. And the same with the World Series. They were there and then they were poof disappeared. So we'll stay in the Baltimore, Maryland area though. Because I said about a little bit of news about the Orioles.
Jackson
Um,
Holiday. Oh,
no, not Jackson Holiday. They didn't pull a Braves and sign him to a massive deal before he played at Major League Baseball level yet, but they might
can't
soon
even.
because they got new
Can't afford it.
ownership.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Never mind.
maybe they just sold. So they sold and got a new ownership group, which features Cal Ripken Jr. So love to see that when former players buy into the current team ownership stake. Love to see it. Great for the Orioles, and maybe they're not going to be so cheap now. The Angelos family, I believe it was known to be notoriously cheap, and he had a quote saying about he's not going to be able to pay all these young guys, or if he is, he's going to have to raise the price of tickets and food. I was like, what do you mean? You're like a multi-hundred millionaire. I mean, you're rich, okay? You can afford to do this.
You can
We're
take some
not
money out of your
dumb.
retirement fund.
Yeah, yeah. Sell a yacht or two, honestly. But no, it's good to get the cheap owners out of the league and move on to guys who are willing to spend and make their team better. Maybe the Pirates will be next.
Yeah, and then I like it because you get a guy like Cal Ripken in there that's been an Oriole and he was there. You know, it's this. He knows how great a baseball town Baltimore can be, and we saw it last year. Those fans were crazy for their. I know they got swept, but they had 2 home games and they were nuts, and they finally got to experience some winning baseball. So it's a great mix to have. You got a team that wants to win, and you got an ownership that wants to support them and put better products on the field. So good move for the Orioles. Better for baseball.
Okay, yeah, this move sucks. I hate it. Absolutely hate it. Um, no, that's my Yankee bias. Um, no, it's cool, man. I mean, as a fan of a big market team, this is what you want to see. This is the way you want the sport to move. Um, Not saying you got to go out there and be like the Dodgers. Not everybody can do that, but you know, having Cal Ripken part of this ownership is such a good thing for the game of baseball, but it also scares the absolute living shit out of me. Like severely scares me because depending on how much say he's going to have here, he's a former player who absolutely loves the city of Baltimore. He's going to do whatever the hell it takes to bring another championship to the city. And that scares me. You know, I don't I don't need Baltimore coming up and now being able to spend money and now going to be a better team. I don't like this. I already got to deal with that with Toronto and Boston and well, not Tampa, but they find a way to do it every year. So Yankee bias, I hate it, but as a baseball fan, it's good for the game, man. It really is. Yeah, not too much to say other than good for baseball.
I don't want to keep piling on here and scare you even more, Kyle, but this is still a very young team. And they
Yeah.
just got to the playoffs with this young core for the first time. And now they just got an ownership that looks like they're going to go out and spend some money. I'm
Yep.
sure that's what you want to hear as a Yankee fan.
Yeah, not at all. But there is going to be a time where they got to pay these guys. So depending on where that team looks, because I mean, like you said, they are still a very young team, and they still got more in the wings, man. Jackson Holiday hasn't even made his MLB debut yet. Um, they have an overabundance of these young guys who I don't know if they're going to be able to pay them all. Even with this new ownership, but but the window that they have now, they got these young guys under very team friendly deals. You can go out and spend that money now. So that does scare me, but yet again, it's good for baseball, man. This is what you want. So, I mean, this Baltimore team is going to be fun. And by the looks of it, it's going to be fun for years.
Yeah, that's what you want overall for baseball, is for teams to try and keep their good players around, not trade them when they're at peak value for a bunch of middle of the road guys. So overall, good move for baseball as a whole. So happy for the Orioles and Orioles fans, and I think that's gonna be everything, right, for episode 62 here. So it's a good episode. We keep plugging along, and next week we're due to start our previews for the divisions, which is crazy.
Whoa.
We're getting there already, and we don't even know where the reigning NL Cy Young pitcher is playing in 2024. So
Well, he's only
we're gonna
got one.
be.
So.
He does. He does. He only has one offer, and luckily we're not starting with the AL East. We're starting with the NL East. So we'll see. See if he maybe he'll sign with the Nationals or the Marlins or something, and then we'll have to, redo our predictions. I doubt it, but I guess there's a chance. But no, we'll be getting into those predictions next week then, and hopefully be doing some draft stuff too, drafting some guys, some teams out of the NL East group of players. But yeah, looking forward to it, and it's gonna be everything for episode 62. We'll see you next week. Later.
Adios.